Okay. So welcome again, everyone. I'm super happy to see all of you. I'm happy to see new faces. I'm happy to see faces that have been and people who have been with us throughout the whole cycle. This is our 5th lecture and in the cycle of 10 lectures. And I'm super excited to have Kārlis with us today. You know that I've told you that about each of these experts and speakers, I have a little like a comment, and I can tell you my comment about Kārlis is this, that he is the reason why we have such wonderful speakers, because he was the first one I contacted as a former manager, director of the business incubator of Latvian University. And then from him, it's like a spider that grew its legs, and all these wonderful speakers come from him. So Kārli, I will let you introduce yourself, but thank you so much for being here and doing this. And I hope everyone enjoys the lecture. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, hi again, and thank you, Linda, for introducing me. And yeah, about what you mentioned about suggesting speakers, I have heard also good feedback from them about the program and participants. So everyone is excited about what's happening here. That's good. Yeah, and as Linda mentioned before, I was working in University of Latvia in business incubator, which was my full-time job for past almost 4.5 years. And then since March, I left my full-time position there to focus on doing something similar, probably as some of you are doing now, creating and testing new ideas to create some new projects and products on my own. But while I was in business incubator, not only we were creating also different kind of support programs, but tried a couple of projects and business ideas as well. And then today I will try to give you some steps and hopefully also practical suggestions that you can take to turn maybe from idea to something tangible already. So we'll try to. I'm trying a new tool. So let me see if this thing will work. Just a second. It should be that. I don't want to share the screen. So the only questions, so somebody could say for me, because I'm not 100% for a couple of slides. For example, okay, we will have a problem here. The colors are bad. You don't see anything, right, from the white letters?
It's quite blurry. Yes, it's quite blurry.
Okay.
But I've made you a co-host, so if you wish.
Yeah, I will try a second option.
This is trying ideas in life.
Yeah. Okay. So we will stick to the stick to the old version.
Yeah, this is better, right? I think much clearer.
Just a second. Now you can't see me. Okay, so now it's good. Okay, so we failed our first experiment with the new tool. hopefully next time I will have better luck. But yeah, today's topic, creating and testing ideas. What I have planned is sort of the intro, just go through the process of what should be the steps that you are taking when you have the idea and how you can test it. I have prepared a couple of examples of tests that you can do, and then I hope we will also have enough time to go through tools and platforms that you might find useful when you will start to do these tests, and will try to create something on your own. I don't know much about you. I know that the stage when you're also just exploring and learning. So maybe, I don't know, you can raise the virtual hand, or you can, if you want, turn on your microphone and tell who of you already have some kind of business idea, or maybe you already have started something. Do we have these kind of people also?
Is there anyone?
I have some idea, but this is my first seminar. I really wanted to join the other ones, but it was not possible due to my work. But yeah, so I'm willing to just listen what you have for us today. Okay.
So if no one has the idea yet, I didn't prepare slides for that, but just a couple of practical steps or ways how you might find your next big idea, or your first big idea that you want to try on. One of the things which is suggested in other resources as well is that and if your goal is to find the idea that you want to work on, is to track basically your own daily life, because maybe, let's say, if nowadays everyone has a smartphone. If you don't have a smartphone, then maybe paper notebook with you that you keep with yourself, and when you experience some kind of problem, or you see that there is some kind of existing product or solution that doesn't work as good as you would like it to work, then just write down these ideas, these problems that you are seeing in your own daily life, and in around 1 week or 2 weeks, you should have some kind of list of potential, at least, directions that you could work on and could try to solve. While we are living still in this pandemic and COVID time, I think a good way how to come up with idea or to join idea. Now I think also in Latvia, but yeah, as everything is happening in Zoom, you can join from other countries as well. There is a lot of hackathons happening. So if you're not aware of or haven't participated previously in hackathon, usually it's a weekend-long event where starts on Friday evening, and usually there's people who are coming with their ideas, and they in the hackathon you have around 1 or 2 minutes to pitch this idea. So in case you would have idea, you would be able to pitch it and create a team that would work on you for 1 weekend on this idea. Or if you don't have ideas, maybe some of you don't, then you would hear ideas from other people, and you would be able to say that, hey, I like the idea that you just presented, and I would like to be in a team with you, and then you can create you can create a team with it and work on that idea together with him. I'm not okay. The closest hackathon that I know that's happening in Latvia is next week, but that one will be in Latvian. But there will be or there is hackathon series called Startup Weekends, which is organized or co-organized by Techstars. So if you will Google Techstars Startup Weekend, they have hackathons all over the world. So, and many of them now is happening online. So you can join one of the hackathons, and maybe you will find an idea to work on there. That would be the second. And third one, either yeah, it's up to you what content you're consuming, but there is a lot of podcasts now which is discussing different business opportunities or directions which you can find some kind of ideas. So yeah, just if your goal is to find idea, I think if you will search, you will find some kind of inspiration. So when I will send the presentation, there will be also some links to included to these podcasts and blogs that I find interesting to listen, and from which I have had some ideas that I try to implement, or at least I wrote down them that I would like to try them. So yeah, these 3 steps, just one is tracking your own daily life. So what is the problems that you're dealing with and try to solve them. Second would be to join hackathon and find somebody who already has idea and to work on that together. Or third one would be, yeah, listen to podcasts, read blogs and news about what's happening in maybe in startup ecosystem, and I think you will find a good enough, at least starting point for some kind of idea that you could try to work on. The one woman who said that you have idea, maybe you want to share what is the idea and how you came up with it.
Yeah, I don't really actually want to tell about the idea because it's a business, okay. But it's more or less what you were explaining about, like you think about your life, what you don't have, or what. For example, I'm not from here, obviously none of us is from here, so we have experiences from our countries or from another countries we have lived, and then we can see, oh, this is not here, maybe it could work, but then is the thing, like to know how to know before to come with, with all the money and to get all the investment, to get to know if it really that could work. Of course, you maybe talk with the local people, you see some interest, but I also would like to have some real response from how more or less to know that it will work. Of course, when you make a business, it's always like that. It's not luck, but it is, you have to study and you have to see if it really in the market or with the people or in the place you are doing it will work. That's why I really wanted to join to these seminars to see what suggestions and all.
Yeah. Yeah, we will go through these steps in a moment. But yeah, I like that you're saying that your idea is coming from your own personal life, because I think many people have started with their own. Maybe something was missing, they couldn't get it, and then they just was like, okay, I will create it by myself. And it's always maybe not easier, but at least more interesting to work on something that you have your personal interest in. And then if you would, just work on something because somebody said you have to do this. Okay.
Hello there. Sorry, I would like to share some ideas as well, but actually, I have some ideas, but I would like to share one of them. First of all, I start to think that there are a lot of young people who have great potential in different spheres, especially like nowadays it's very actual is IT sphere and other spheres. Like by IT sphere, like in IT sphere, you may work wherever you are. Like there's so much possibilities for distant working and so on. And I always, not always, but usually I meet people like big companies. So like they even don't look at your CV or whatever, just a big pile of CVs and applications, and sometimes they just pick some of them by chance, but there are a lot of potential young people who are like missing opportunity to gain a good job, and the one of them is a lack of experience. It's like first of all, even if they are invited to interview or their application view, they see that they don't have enough experience or whatever. My ideas about business are a little bit blurred. About this business is a little bit blurred, but I think that I have to share with some experts that maybe there will be some specific parts and I will get some advice or something. Even if I don't realize myself, I would like that some people will realize these kind of ideas maybe. So I think that in interview process or whatever, it's better to put artificial intelligence into process. So there are some programs like you can get that, okay, that person doesn't have enough experience, but some psychological or whatever test that may may appear that, okay, this is potentially good worker. If get some training or something, even better that 10 years experience one. Okay, so this will give opportunities to some young people. So and another point I would like to mention, like in some like orphanages or in some places where like there people, even the people from very poor countries or kids who doesn't have parents, who doesn't have a good education, good access to education or access to proper information platforms, it is good for some companies, like it's good to be mediator between that people who have little access to some education or information and to the people who are is like good companies and can hire, and or just startup companies, doesn't matter how it is, like they need like a little bit cheaper workers but with better qualities, right? So to mediate these two kinds of people, I would like to create some business on this sphere. For example, to give some trainings, to provide some trainings, to do some survey, like as I told like before, to do some survey. After the survey, like potential candidates to do some training, and after this one, to make them to go into the job process. Different sphere, doesn't matter, but IT sphere is a much more, I'd say, like currently is much more demanding and much more possible to connect different people. So
IT companies usually take people quite fast from second and third year of university. They are in big demand. But it seems both ideas are interesting, and I would like to see something, as you mentioned in the first idea, basically extra help for HR people to take the best talent in companies when they are hiring new people.
You know, like it is I think it's very connected, these two ideas also, because, you know, like sometimes there are potential people who has like less access, less information or whatever, but he has a potential goal-oriented person. He has some, how to say, specific goals in life, and his character, personal skills made this person to go ahead. For example, like it happened, like in my case, like I've studied different sphere, but I worked absolutely in different sphere. It was just like one good manager just like recognized that, oh, that you can do it, just and trust and rely, and you are going like ahead. So, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen always, you know, like so many very good, having good potential people are having I don't know, like don't getting proper jobs,
they are not getting the opportunity, which is no, but if you could create a service and provide the opportunities, I think there would be there could be demand from both sides, and I hope some of the things that we will speak you will be able to apply for both of these ideas or one of the idea, and test it out, and on the examples that you mentioned, because I'm sure how much time Hal has for everyone else. I can speak also longer than 1 hour, because not sure how much time Hal has everyone else. I will just continue, but we will come back to your ideas, because we can then take them as examples on some of the tests that we will be speaking. At that point, when you already have some kind of ideas, now we heard, for example, creating it could be a platform where young talents can find opportunities to work in existing companies. The first thing that you should do is write all your assumptions about this idea. What I mean by assumptions, usually you have some kind of guesses who could be users of this product, maybe how much they would be willing to pay for this, what is the main need or problem for these people who would use it, how you are planning to provide this and other things. I did recently this for one of my ideas. It's if you start to do this, then it would take probably more than 1 hour, and there is no limit how many assumptions you can create. Maybe at the beginning as much as you can, just all the assumptions that you have about your idea. The examples that I put in presentation, I just it's quite random. I just came that hey, there could be app for tracking your eating habits, so you would eat more healthy. It's not a real idea. It's just an example. Here probably somebody already have done that, and these assumptions maybe somebody already have showed something similar in one of the previous workshops, but these assumptions can be divided and should be divided in 3 groups. So one of them is speaking about desirability, meaning that here assumptions about your potential, who would actually use your product, why they would use it, so what is the need for them, what value you're giving to them, how you will reach them and interact with your customers. So everything that's connected with customers and demand from the customers or their need, you should put in this desirability group. Another group is feasibility, which is more about technical side of your idea. Can you actually build it, and what do you need to build this idea? Do you need some special technology? If you need this technology, do you build it by yourself, or maybe you have some kind of business partner from which you will license this technology and you will use his. So everything about how you will build it, what resources you will need, these assumptions or guesses you put in feasibility group. And the third one is viability. As we know, for all business, at least for most of the business, the main goal is to make money, to be profitable. Maybe for a social business, sometimes they have other goals, but like for traditional business, the goal is to make money. And in viability, so how much it would cost for you to make this kind of product reality, how much you could charge your customers, how often you would charge your customers. These assumptions you would put in a viability group. And when you have grouped all the assumptions in these 3 groups, you should try to rank all the assumptions and trying to find which of them are more important. Not maybe important for you yourself, but important for your business idea to become reality. Meaning, probably there is some kind of critical assumptions that if they will turn to be not true, then your business will not be viable or will not come reality. For example, in an example that we heard before about connecting these young professionals with existing companies or with big companies of this opportunity, we could say that one of the assumptions could be that young professionals after university can't find a job in the field they studied, or that companies prefer people with 5-year experience over people with less experience and with higher potential. Maybe another assumption could be that maybe something with the technical side. So how you would provide this service, what you have to build, and when you have ranked all the assumptions from critical to less critical, you should take only, at least at the beginning, you should focus only on the most important from desirability group. Why it's desirability group? It's because it's not one of the, it's actually a main reason why many businesses fail. It's because they are building something that nobody needs. So for your idea to be successful, you should at the beginning actually the thing that you're planning to build is needed in the market. So you would test these desirability assumptions first ones, and only after that would come, hey, can we actually build this thing, and can it actually make money for us? Because even if you could, I don't know, let's say you want to build some kind of app, even if you can build that app, that doesn't mean that somebody will need this app and that somebody will use it. So test the need in the market and from the customers at the beginning. And when you have grouped them and ranked and picked one of the assumptions that you would want to test, one of the first things you will have to do is, it can be that you will have to rewrite this assumption so it would be testable. What I mean by that assumption has to be testable, it has to be precise, understandable, and you can't mix two assumptions together. For example, here I have given example that parents are often reading a story or playing its audio version for their kids, which we can understand like about what the assumption is, but what we are missing in this assumption is that we don't know how old are the kids. So should we test the parents who have teenager kids, or we want to test kids, parents who have kids that are younger than 1 year? So this specific age range is missing in this assumption. Another thing, how often parents are reading these stories. In this example, I have said that parents are often reading story, but often for one parent, often can be that he's reading every evening a story, and for another parent, this often will be once per month. So if you would run any kind of test for these parents with this assumption, it would be hard for you to measure which of the answers are true and which are not. And then two more things. When parents are reading the stories and when they are playing audio stories, because it could be that these are two separate things. A better version, I'm not saying it's the best version, but the better version of how to write this assumption would be to divide it in two assumptions, and one of them, it could be that it's lagging right now. It showed at least warning for me that my internet connection is bad. So yeah, a better way would be that parents who have kids from ages 2 to 8. So we have said how old the kids should be for these parents that we want to test, are reading at least one bedtime story per week. So we are already have said that this is bedtime story, meaning it will happen, the story reading happening in evenings, and at least one bedtime story per week on a weekly basis. So we have also defined it for ourselves what often means for us. So when we will test, we will know that often is once per week on a weekly basis. And then we have made the second assumption that these audio stories, it's the same age group, again, once per week, but while they are commuting to kindergarten or while they are commuting to school. So we would try to test only those parents in this age group, and we would ask them about these specific cases. So bedtime stories, and what do you listen when you are going to school, or what do you are playing for your kid when you bring him to kindergarten in mornings, or from kindergarten to home. When the assumption has been rewritten in testable way, then you should think actually what tests you will do. Examples of the tests I will show in a couple of minutes, and maybe even more important to what tests you are planning to do, you have to define what will be the metrics, meaning how you will measure the results that you are getting. Because if you don't know what you are measuring, you also will not be able to tell if your assumption this idea was correct or no. An important part, of course, you define these metrics before you do the test. Let's say for this idea about parents, we will measure how many parents in interview will mention that they are reading a story at least once per week. And we will say that the success criteria that we want to reach is 70% of parents. So if it's less than 70% of the parents who are saying that they are reading the story once per week, we consider that this assumption was wrong for us. But the numbers, it's different for each test. So don't assume that you have to have 70% for all of your tests. And then timeline for how long you will run this test. At the beginning, while you are just starting out, you have only idea. You do quick and possibly cheap experiments. So don't spend like 6 months and 4,000 euros on creating one test. Try to do one test per week, or at least per month, depending how fast you can create them. And also don't spend too much money at the beginning, because at the beginning, while you just have this idea, there is much higher failure rate than it will be later. And when doing the test and it's finished, you will be able to write 3 things. One of them, what did you learn from this test? Maybe you find out something new that you didn't expect before. And of course, you will be able to see if you validated your assumption and met your success criteria or no. And based on that, you'll be able to make a decision of these test results. So if the metrics support your assumption, it means that you validated your hypothesis, your guess, and you can move on with running a different experiment for the same assumption that you already tested, or you can pick another assumption from your list and do another experiment for that. Here, important tests, you should do at least, it's at least suggested that you do at least 2 experiments for each assumption, because if one of them turns out to be wrong, maybe another test turns out to be right, then okay, do the third one. But if both of them turns out to be wrong, and you didn't validate your assumption, at the beginning, think what you can change in your idea. If you tested desirability, maybe the customer group wasn't the correct one, so you can try to run the same or similar test just for different group of people. Maybe your value proposition should be changed. So value proposition, what you're offering for your customer. Or if you can't figure it out what you have to change, and the test results doesn't show that somebody needs something like this, it's still early in your idea development, so you can also quit the idea and just move on to another idea and start work on that. Especially at the beginning, it could be that you will find some new information that you didn't think of before when you just started out. So write down all these new insights that you are finding out, and check if possibly these new insights could not destroy your idea. One example could be that you saw that there's some kind of business working in, let's say, in America, but due to laws in Latvia, you can't do the same business in Latvia. So the business working in America, you wanted to do the same in Latvia, and you found out that due to laws in Latvia, you can't do this business here. So it could be a good indicator that, hey, actually, maybe you should try another idea, because it could be too hard to change laws in Latvia in order to run your business. But it has happened before. I think Airbnb, Uber, and all these platforms where now people can rent or work not full time, they also asked for some changes in laws. So it's not something completely impossible, but definitely not something that maybe you would want to see that it requires some changes in law for your idea to work. I wanted to show quickly, check if I have.
I'm sorry, before you move on, we have some questions in the chat. Do you wish to maybe in the very end? And just wondering how you prefer.
Okay, let's
leave them for the end.
Let's leave them for then. Yeah.
Great.
Because about the tests, I will also go through with examples, so we will be able to, we will be able to talk about how detailed they have to be and all other things. But if you have something urgent that you have a question, you can also just turn your microphone on and ask it. Yeah, what I wanted to say, when you are running these tests, write everything, something down. I have created a Trello board, which is, I don't know if you have, probably some of you have worked with Trello before. Do you see, did something changed in the screen that I'm sharing or no?
Yes, we can see the address of the website.
Okay, so the idea of this was that in this column you would write all the assumptions that you have for your idea, and then you would in this column you would write the tests that you had intended to do, and basically in Trello, then you can just move the cards till the end. But I know now really popular is to use Notion for your project management. There is you can just write in your notebook, in Word. Any platform is good. Just write everything down. What was the assumption you were testing? What was the results that you were getting? How you measured it? So all that should be collected in one or another way. Yeah, and about the tests that you can do, I believe Ernest probably also mentioned customer interviews in his last workshop. But actually, customer interviews are also considered a test for your idea, and this is what you should start at the very beginning. That you do, that you go and ask questions for people. Couple of important things about interviews. One, don't take too wide the range of people that you are planning to interview, because then also the results that you will get will be mixed. Will be try to focus on specific niche of people. When you do interviews, you then ask questions about what they might do in the future. So let's say there was this idea about connecting companies with young talent. So we should ask companies how they are now selecting these young talents from universities, how they participated in some kind of activity, or do they even consider to pick young talents? When was the last time when they picked a new talent from university into their company? Because if we would ask them about would you consider to take a new student from university in your company, they can just say yes, we would consider, or yes, we would do that, but that doesn't mean that they actually would do it. So ask them about real facts from past rather than asking them what they will do in the future. Often people are also asking how much interviews are enough. I can't tell you exact number. I think it's of each idea. A good starting point probably would be to do around 20 interviews, and then you analyze the results, and you see if you have change something in your questions. Maybe you have to change people that you're interviewing, or if everything goes good, you can continue. And if by the number we can't say how much is enough, then a good number, or not number, but a good stage when to stop to do interviews is when you can already predict what people will answer to your questions. So you have interviewed so many people, and you see that answers are starting to repeat, that basically people are telling the same thing over again. So you know that you have found the right audience and the right need that they have. Similar but not the same would be to do surveys, but I still would suggest to do interviews. What you can use surveys is to filter out the people that you plan to interview. And for example, you post somewhere on the internet a survey asking a couple of questions, and from these questions you can filter out which of the people fits your customer audience, and you would invite only these people to these interviews. And also another test is a day in the life of your customer, which means that you actually follow some people and you check how they are interacting with the existing solution, or if you follow them for the whole day, then you see in which parts of the day they were using the product that you're planning to create. One thing, you have to agree with the person that you're planning to follow beforehand that you will do this, so they wouldn't think you're some kind of stranger follow. And also now, due to all the restrictions, I don't know how easy it would be to do this, so I would stick to interviews. And the good part is, in case you would do the interview in English, there is a lot of tools that allow to record the Zoom calls, not in the video. They are recording the audio, and when you finish the Zoom call, you get a text file of all the like a transcript of your interview, so it will be easier for you to analyze the results afterwards. Similar to interviews, another sort of test is to check discussion forums and pages where you can find the feedback about existing products. So let's say we are creating this platform for young talents to find a job. So probably there is forums, Facebook groups, some websites where students are discussing how they are finding a job now, what is the most difficult part for them in finding a job. So you can research the existing information on the internet. And similar with product feedback. If it's a physical product, there is a good chance that it's selling on Amazon, so you can check the feedback there. And usually people leave the feedback only in two cases. Either they are really happy about the product, or they were really unhappy with the product. And you should focus on the feedback that was negative, so you would see what you can upgrade, or how you can make a better product, because you saw what people don't like in the existing one. If it's a software, there is a lot of websites that where you can find reviews and feedback about software products. With apps, it's quite also easy on App Store, Play Store, and different bloggers are reviewing apps, and communities are discussing. So it's possible to find this information on the internet. And yeah, this you can do basically from, or you should even do this from day one. You have idea, check what's happening right now with something similar in the world, and it could take a day or maybe 2 days to run this kind of test. Couple of other things that you can do. There is Google Trends and the Google Keyword Planner, where you can see if people are searching for this information on the internet. So are they, yeah, and if nobody is searching from it, so it's also a good sign that maybe there is not so big need for something like this in the market right now. And also these tools which you can use for these analyses, I have included in presentation, so you will see them afterward. Moving to creating actually something would be landing pages. Nowadays, it's quite easy and relatively cheap to build a simple landing page where you can show your value proposition to your customer and ask them to do some kind of action. At the very early stage, usually we invite people to leave their email. So if you're interested in this product, sign up on waiting list, or you can put some buttons and they have to fill out some kind of form. But there should be some kind of action that users have to take. I would say it's harder now to find the ways how you will drive traffic to your site than it is to build the landing page itself. But at the beginning, maybe don't focus that much on paid ads, but try to post some blog posts or articles on Facebook groups, forums, in places where people are already discussing similar topics as your idea is. And I wouldn't also suggest for you just to post, hey, I have this idea, here is link, go check it out, but try to be helpful in a way that you provide more information about this topic, and then you're saying, hey, by the way, we are creating a solution for this right now, and you can check it out here, and then there is a link to your landing page. If you do this kind of test, important add some kind of analytic tools. Most popular is just to use Google Analytics, where you will see how many people visited your site and from which countries they visited, how much time they spent on the site. And also, for the beginning, it will be enough with simple privacy policy and terms and conditions, so everything can be as GDPR and other regulations are requiring. And also this, in one of the resources that I have added, there will be a platform that allows you to create a privacy policy for your website for free. It's quite good tool. I'm using also for my own website, so you can use that one. Yeah, how long you run this kind of test depends how much visitors you can drive to your website. at the beginning, it won't be that fast. So it wouldn't be 1 week, probably from few weeks up to 1 month, and then you can see the results. And what you can measure is how many people sign up if you invited them to sign up for waiting lists, or how many visitors there was on the website. But that also depends on the test or assumption that you are testing. For example, if I would want to test if the value proposition is the correct one for my idea, I would measure how many people signed up on the waiting list and this conversion rate. And if I wanted to check if the audience was the correct one, I would probably also consider how many visitors there was in visiting the site, because if it was the right audience, they were going to the site, but as my value proposition was not the right one, maybe they just didn't sign up on the waiting list. About online ads, probably we all have seen on Google and Facebook all these advertisements about different products. Also, you can do it even when you don't have your product ready. So, for example, you want to drive people to your landing page or maybe survey, and there is 2 approaches how you can do these ads. So one is this push-based approach, which means that they will these ads will be shown for people at random times, but still for the people who have previously searched for something similar. For example, you wanted to buy running shoes for running before, and you start to see ads about Nike shoes on Facebook. But at that exact time, you are not searching for the Nike shoes. It just shows up on Facebook or Instagram. A better way how to do ads at the beginning would be to post them on Google and use this pull-based approach, which means that the person is at that exact moment looking for a solution. So I'm going on Google, I'm searching men shoes for running for men's, and the first result I see is ad where saying the best shoes with the best price for running, and then I click on that ad. Of course, to do this test, you need money, and I also would suggest that someone who's done these tests, not tests, but who has done online ads before, because if you do them on your own, it could quite get costly at the beginning while you will learn how to do them. Yeah, another one is data sheet. What data sheet means, you just create something similar as a PDF document where you describe your idea. So what problem it solves, what is the solution, some specification of this product that you try to create, and then it's 2 ways how you can show it. Either you show this data sheet during your interviews, and you collect the feedback that people are providing you with, or you post this data sheet on a landing page and ask people to sign up for waiting list for this kind of product as well. Yeah, and to create this data sheet, you probably would need some kind of picture, visual of your product, but you can. I also have included this site, so you can create like digital mockups of starting from apps and t-shirts. You can also create mockups for, let's say you would want to create your food supplement brand, so you can also create the packages for food supplement with your brand name on it and post these pictures in that sheet when you're describing your product. Another test is explainer video, where basically you are explaining your idea, showing the product that you are planning to build. For this, it could be that you will need a clickable mockup or something else where you can show and explain how your product would work. A really popular one is example from Dropbox. So they created that was 12 years ago. They created this explainer video where they said what Dropbox will do, and they said, leave your email here and we will notify when the Dropbox is live. And there was quite a lot of people who signed up on their waiting list after this one explainer video. Mock sales. There's 2 ways how you can, or maybe even 3 ways how you can do mock sales. Simplest one, when you don't even need to create a landing page. In Latvia, there is popular website ss.lv where everyone's posting some kind of advertisements. For example, they are selling a flat, renting a flat, selling cars, selling bicycles, basically buy and sell website. And you can post an ad on this site that, let's say your business idea is to sell running shoes. So you can post an ad that you're selling running shoes on this site, and then you can track how many people would call for you or write you an email about this exact product. That also would give you some kind of a number or evidence that there is or isn't a demand for this kind of product that you're planning to build. If you have a landing page, then you can put a picture of your product, or it's an explainer video of your product, and then there is a button, buy now. But when the person presses on this button, buy now, in the next few steps, some kind of pop-up window shows up saying that, hey, we are sorry, at the moment the product is available, but you can leave your email here and we will notify you when it's ready. And the third way with mock sales would be just to agree with somebody who already have shop, or try to get some kind of space, maybe in local markets where you are going and showing the product, but for that you would need something physical to show, and try to sell it for people and see if they are responding or not. So you would see actually if the people are willing to buy it or no, and for how much they are willing to buy it. So this is also the test that you can use to test the price. You can compare to which price people are pressing more buy now button, for which price the rate is dropping. 2 more tests, 3 we have left. So a test called concierge, meaning you are providing the service that you are planning that your business will provide, but you are doing it manually, and your customer or user is aware that you are doing it by yourself, but there is no technology under it, and you are just providing the service manually. To give example, there is one company in USA called Rent a Runway, and so they saw that there is a need or problem that women don't want to wear the same dress to multiple events because there's pictures from the event, and then they see that the woman's going with the same dress to, I don't know, she was in the last Christmas with the same dress and with the same dress and the next Christmas, and they don't like it. But at the same time, to buy a new dress for each event, it could be quite costly. So they came up with the idea that they could rent out designer clothes for women, and women could rent these dress for one night or 2 nights and then give it back. And what they didn't know, if women would use this kind of service, and if women would want to wear a dress that other women have worn before. So how they tested it was they put posters in their university campus saying that this day at this time you can come to gym, where we will be providing the service. You will be able to wear and check out designer clothes, and if you like it, you will be able to rent it. And they saw there was quite a big interest from people, and also women wanted to rent these clothes. So that's how they tested their business idea. And only afterwards they started to communicate with these designers, they started to communicate with shops, and started to build some kind of web page where people could book clothes for renting. Similar to previous Wizard to Pause, but in this case, your customer or your user is not aware that the job is done manually by people. To give example quickly, let's say you want to create a site that will automatically create these privacy policies. You don't know how to do it at the moment, but you have a template of good privacy policy. And if customer provides you with information about his company, about his website, you could create a privacy policy for him manually. And how you can do this is you put a form on your website where the user has to submit info about his company. He submits this company, you get a notification that somebody submitted the form. And then you take this information from the form and manually put in your in this document that you are creating for him, and send it through the email back to customer. Customer gets the same value or the same product that he would get if that would be automatic one, but you can test the demand and see how many times this service would be used even before you created all the automation for your service. And the last one, which is more focused if you have B2B. So this idea about connecting young talents and these existing companies, letter of intent would be a good test in that case. Letter of intent is a signed document which confirms that if the service would be ready, the company would be willing to buy this service. But at the same time, it doesn't put any legal obligations to actually buy the service. So I could agree that I will buy a product from Linda when it will be ready, but and I will sign the letter of intent that yeah, I'm interested to buy it. But actually, when Linda will come back with me again with the same product, I have a right to say that, well, actually, I don't need it anymore. So. But it's quite, strong evidence if you can get a company to sign the letter of intent that they are really interested in this. What you should, remember, don't send letter of intent in the first contact. Do the interviews with these companies before. Introduce yourself, introduce what you are planning to provide with them, and only then, if they are saying, yeah, we would be interested in something like this, then you say for them, okay, we have prepared letter of intent, could you sign it for us? And then you can measure how many actually sign it, and if there is big enough interest and many companies are signing these letter of intents, then you know, okay, we can go on and create this idea further. Yeah, and about test that I wanted to speak is it's everything. There is many more that you can check. Many of them, in some ways, are connected between. So you do one test, and then there is follow up with another test. But if I would or if you should remember 3 things, then they would be that if you have any idea at the beginning, write all the assumptions about it. Test these assumptions before you actually build the product, and then make a decision based on what you have learned from these tests. Yeah, that's all about resources. I will add a couple more, but for now I have included, there is 3 books about interviews, also with scripts that you can use for your interviews. These 2 are for free, so you can download the PDF. Start with talking to humans and only then go with testing with humans. The MAM test, it will be, or it is suggested by many people from startup ecosystem, and yeah, it costs for the ebook, for PDF version, you have to pay $10, which is not very much for a book, and it's good. So, and this one is video about interview surveys and stuff like that, so you can watch it. Yes, couple of tools to analyze your competitors and existing information on the internet. So these are platforms, most of them, if nothing has changed, are for free, or at least they have some free versions, so you will not have to pay anything. For Jungle Scout you have to pay, but yeah, check if you need it. Maybe it's worth to pay. Now there will be 3 examples of landing pages. Here is also written like explaining what all of these are meaning, what information is there. And there's the 3rd one. Then I have put quite a lot of no-code tools. So no-code is quite popular movement right now. So you can actually create mobile-first apps even when you don't know how to code. So you don't have to write the code to create an app, website, or web app. You can use these tools. So Glide Apps lets you to build an app on top of Google Sheets. Adalo is something similar, but Adalo also offers afterwards to you a chance to put this app in Play Store and App Store. Tilde, I'm using it usually for my landing pages. Card actually costs $19 per year, so it's less than $2 per month, and you can create five landing pages there. So it's quite good price. Bubble, you can create web apps like Twitter, Airbnb, Uber, and stuff like that on Bubble without using. You won't have to write the code. So if you are not an IT person, maybe these platforms could be good for you to check if you are planning to build a digital product. For mockups, Figma now is the most popular and also quite easy to use. I think if you would spend 1 week on Figma, you can create, maybe not like a professional designer designs, but understandable mockups for your websites and apps. Stock photos for your if you need I don't know, something to put on your website or social media. Didn't mention crowdfunding campaigns and tests, but if your idea would, for example, be some kind of hardware product, then you can also create a crowdfunding campaign. But I don't know, nowadays, especially if you would want to launch a crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter, it requires quite a big budget. So I wouldn't suggest it, but we have our local one, which is Projekta. I don't know, maybe Linda, you can also contact Projekta and ask that you can make some kind of cooperation and post projects from this program on Project Banka. And then there is Fundraise Me, which is from Estonia, so quite local as well. And other tools, so smart mockups. Here you can create these product mockups. So you can put a design, and for example, on iPhone screen, and it will look like in real iPhone, somebody's holding a phone with your app in it, or you can put your brand name on T-shirts, on some banners in city view, or on packaging and stuff like that. So check that one. Canva for creating visual materials. Loom, if you will create explainer video, then Loom's quite good. In free version, you can record your screen for five minutes. I think it's enough to explain an idea. And Avodocs is the platform that I said you can create these legal documents, including privacy policy and terms and conditions for your website. And I think Avodocs are allowed to create 5 documents per month for free. If you need more, then you would need to pay. But I think for the beginning, you will not need to create more than 5 documents per month for sure. Yeah, that was it. So now, if somebody still have questions, we can talk about them.
Well, as you think of your questions, we had some questions in the chat. Sevda asked about hackathons that if you could suggest or comment on where they can apply. Then we had a question from Leila. She's asking about the tests, where you test your product, how detailed they have to be, considering the limited resources that they might have. And lady, she asked about, I understand, commented on Wizard of Oz. There's just, it's a comment. And then
yes.
Mara says, thank you for the resources. I'm sorry if I missed something. If you still have a question, then yes. Just shoot.
Just a second, I'll quickly post about hackathon. Open. So about hackathons, if you're looking for international ones, then this Techstars, they are organizing these startup weekends. Many of them are happening online, and at the moment it should be that many of them are for free or for a reduced price. I don't know why, but Techstars is suggesting that there should be participation fee also for online events. And about Latvian hackathons, so just a second. I don't know if there is hackathon happening, but in general, you can check this site Labs of Latvia, and all the startup events is posted there. Now should be so Textual conference happening soon, and they will have a lot of side events. In autumn, we will be hosting a festival called Icebreakers, which also for young professionals and with about business opportunities. We will actually also host, so you will be the first for who I am saying this publicly. We will be hosting Techstars hackathon as well in autumn, at the beginning of October. So you will be able to join that one as well. So what else about how detailed the tests have to be at the initial stage? Just write down what exactly you want to test, how you will measure was the test successful or no, and then decide on what type of the test you would do. But at the beginning, start with interviews and researching the existing information on the internet, and with time start to create something. And for example, you create one landing page, you do a test, you see you have to do some changes on your landing page, then you can change them quite quickly and do another test. So I would probably choose speed over quality at the beginning. And to explain how actually works Wizard of Oz, to give you example is, for example, now we are trying to create one app where parents would be able to automatically create personalized stories for their kids. So for example, if you have a son called Ben and Ben is interested in rockets, you would want to create a story for where Ben would be one of the characters and the story would be about rockets. So parents can type all the information and we will generate this story for them. And we launched the app, and we also launched this functionality that they can request personalized stories. All the form is working, but at the moment when somebody submits the form, we just get the notification that the form has been submitted, and we have said that we will provide the story in 24 hours, and we actually create the story not fully half manually. So the idea is that we will use AI for this, but we are still proofreading all the story. We are still editing the story manually and creating, so half manually we are doing that, and then we just upload it on the app for user in 24 hours. So we still provide the service that we promised, but it's just happening in maybe a bit slower, but that doesn't change the quality of the service.
Do we have any other question? I see that people are saying.
And about these tests, I now read. I mean, with the limited resource we have, I would spend a weekend probably trying to find these forums and online communities where you can tell about your idea and your product, because one of the hard parts will be how you will attract these people to see actually on what you're working on. So it's better if you start to search for these platforms as early as you can.
More thank yous in the chat. And I put a small info about the next session before we start leaving. Do we have any other question? Maybe something more specific, more personal, because obviously this is your chance to take advantage of the experts who are here. Maybe you want to share your story, your success, your learning from a mistake, maybe. And
That is for a question for me.
No, I'm just kind of inviting. No, not so much for you,
Okay.
participants, because I think this is a great chance to take advantage of the time that you are here and we all are here. If we don't have anything specific, but you still have some questions, you can send me an email and I'll forward them to Kārlis. Also, I hope that you will share your presentation with us, because the links and resources were wonderful.
I will add a couple of more things to it in the resource slides, and then I will send it to you. I can't promise that I can send the updated version tonight, but tomorrow morning, it will be sent, because I wanted to add a couple of both reading materials and podcast episodes where other speakers are also sharing their insights on how to test ideas.
Mm-hmm. We'll be patient. We'll wait till tomorrow.
Okay,
Carolina has a question.
Yes, I have a question. You mentioned, Kārlis, before one web page in Latvia that people usually use for advertisement. Can you repeat which one it was?
Oh yeah, it's ss.lv. So it's like the site.
SS.
Yeah, it's the site
okay.
where people are selling and buying stuff. So
yeah, okay.
I actually don't know how much it costs to put ad there. I think it was, I don't know, less than €5 for sure. I'm somehow thinking something around 2. Don't know, but it's. I know that people are sometimes posting. Especially if it's some kind of service that you're planning to provide, then they are just providing this ad, and then they are seeing if people are actually calling and giving response to this ad.
Yeah, I also think in Facebook it's very used, these marketplaces and all those things.
Yeah, now it's also in Latvia becoming more popular, this Facebook marketplace. At least I think they were not that popular before. Maybe it was, don't know. There is one more edit. Yeah, the older. So yeah, try to check these kind of.
Sevda, I see you have a question.
Go on, you can ask. Yeah.
Actually, I would like to specify my issue about the, like before I've talked about this, my idea, which I would like to realize if it will be successful, about this HR issue and hiring people and actually to be like mediator between people and companies. What you introduced several ways of testing. What do you think? I would like to get your opinion. Which one will be better solution for my case? I mean, which testing option would work
I
better?
would probably try to reach out to HR specialists in the companies that you plan to target. And I would start with the interviews, understanding how the hiring process is happening. Maybe they are already using some kind of service to get access to young talents. Maybe they are doing internship programs or something. So basically understanding how they are doing it now, and then creating. It can be also, I don't know, PDF presentation about your service that you could provide for them. After the interview, send it to them again. Not again. So you do the interview, you analyze which of the companies you see fits your customer profile. Then you prepare this presentation or like a sheet where it's described what service you could provide for them. And I would send to the people that you talk to, asking them, hey, I'm planning to, I can provide this kind of service. Would you like to? Would you be interested to try it? And then you can see if maybe you can, in your case, I probably would try to get a company to this, to signing this letter of intent. Or even better case, of course, would be that you would, you have to plan what you will offer, but the best case would be if you get a company that's saying, okay, we will pay you 500 euros, and in exchange you organize for us some kind of event or multiple day event where you will be able to meet these young talents. The money always is the best evidence that the company is for real interest in this. If somebody is ready to pay for that, then it's the best evidence. Second best in this case, I guess, would be that they are signing up and sign this letter of intent that when you have the service ready, they would be users.
Okay, so you suggest first to focus on the company that will invest into my project or whatever.
No, so start with the interviews. Start with exploring what existing solutions are in the market right now. So what are the alternatives, how they are solving. When you have under these two steps, create your offer, what will be your service that you're providing for them, and send it to the company. And if they are saying that, yeah, we would be interested, then you have to think, what is the next step? Because I can say that I'm interested in your service, but that doesn't mean I will use it. And so one is you can ask to sign this letter of intent, saying that, okay, if you're really interested, please sign it, and when it will be ready, I will come back to you. Or other option would be that they are paying before, and then, or you agree that, okay, you will pay me after I will deliver this service, but you have like a commitment from them that they will pay.
Okay, thank you so much.
And also, at the beginning, it can be also some kind of free event where you are just inviting both company representatives and these students to meet each other. That would be also a good way, because you would see interest from both sides, how interested are students and how interested are these companies.
Actually, my goal is not just just student or unexperienced. I would like, my goal is like to choose a potential one. Like some people may have very good skills, but he can't present himself or herself. To have good communication skills. Maybe it's very good, very important part for interview, but in in the process of any job, it can be various job, engineering, IT, whatever, it may require other skills rather than communication, because during my work experience, I've met some people that seems very talented, very experienced, like they can present themselves so good, but during the work process, they don't prove themselves as a good workers, like they don't have enough required skills to overcome the problem or to be to deal with this issue. So my goal is like to make some kind of automatization of this process to focus on skills, like to make to have some psychological tests or whatever to make it apply it as an artificial intelligence, because HR people, HR staff cannot keep in mind all details or whatever, like, but some surveys may acknowledge that some people have these features better or less or whatever. So and companies, like, I would like to create such product that I'll have some base and database. Even so many people can fill these application forms or surveys, and I'll keep this data. And companies may apply for me to find their potential workers. One company needs, or one job needs these skills. Another may need completely different skills. So as per the skills, I would like to organize such kind of things, like to make it more automatized, like to make it like in artificial intelligence. Okay, maybe they will need some job of HR to do some other jobs, but to find out real good candidates, it's better. I would like to mention one thing. Many times in big companies, they don't pay attention to very specific moments. Okay, they have good experts and they pay for this one, and they have very good budget, and they don't care too much about details. And sometimes one good expert works and another not good workers may just a little bit like don't properly realize their job, but it doesn't affect the whole picture, okay? But in many startup companies or a little bit like little company, it's important to have employee which has a proper skills. What is the goal of this company? What is the goal of the job? So in this case, to hire the person, okay, you hire the person which seems quite good as per data, like graduated this university, seems experience is this job, etc. But each job requires specific details. So my opinion, to find out required skills, and after some specific training as per job, like every job it needs specific training, like to familiarize with specific programs or whatever, and this person, good candidate, can apply its skills in required field. So my goal is this one, that like I would like to make it like more automated way, and
there is one at the beginning. I would try to find which companies or industries are lacking of good experts, so that they can't find these employees by themselves, that there is some kind of deficit, so they would be more interested to get some outside help in finding these people. There is quite often that some companies are willing to pay like a referral fee. So if you suggest a good person for the company and this person has afterwards been hired, they are paying this referral fee. So to try to focus on these kind of companies, and how experienced should be these employees, that depends on the company, on each case, probably a bit individually, how you could do. But that's just an idea that came in my mind now. You should test it and check if something like that is available or tried before. Is that let's say you have this automated platform where people are signing up, they are showing these skills, filling out the test that you provide for them. Based on these answers, some kind of profile for this person is created, and me as a company representative can see information about this potential candidate, but I can't see his name, surname, or any contact information. And if I want to see this, if I see that his skills, answers to tests are good, and I would like to speak with him, I have to pay some kind of fee on your platform to then see the contact information. So that's that's another way how you could do
Yeah.
it.
That's very good idea. Thanks so much. Yeah. So it's yes, I feel like this platform is quite useful for me. Like I have at the first stage, I have very blurred idea, and time by time, like after each webinar, it becomes more specific. And thank you all for this help and such good atmosphere.
It's good to hear. I think Linda is also happy to hear.
Definitely, yes. As I've said before, the aim of this is to kind of give you the most useful information, and I really do hope that all this is something that you can take and apply in real life, and not just something you write in your notebook and then put it away. Yeah, something that is really practical and will help you solve certain issues that you might have here with starting your business, with finding a job, solving your employment situation, whatever. So thank you, Sevda, and thank you everyone else. Do we still have maybe a last question to Kārlis? If not, then thank you so much everyone for joining today. Big thank you to Kārlis, and I really am excited for all the resources and all the tips that you shared with us today. We'll be looking forward to that presentation, and I think just everyone can agree with this one. We will see each other again next week. We have a workshop on May 13th. And really nice weather ahead of us. So do enjoy this nice Latvian spring, and I'll see you all next week. Kārlis, one more time, thank you so much, and I'll see you all.
Yeah, thank you for inviting, and good luck with your ideas, and don't stop with the first one.
Yes, I will stay here until the end, until everyone leaves. If you have any question, just like always, don't. Have a beautiful evening, and I'll see you all soon. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
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 Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, Graciela.